Let's get some art supplies from my front yard. Sorry, doesn't everyone harvest their canvases from their front yard? I'm Kim Norman. Welcome to Kim's Art Room. The first thing you'll see here is, yes, gesso, but what I don't show is that I did put a coat or two of ModPodge on both sides of the leaf before I started. It's kind of embarrassing the amount of space I'm given by iMovie to put these captions in, so I was a little too succinct. In fact, the green was actually a hooker's green, which is a name that used to crack me up as a teenager, although it was apparently named after a man named Mr. Hooker. Then the red is a cadmium red medium. The brown is, of course, burnt sienna, which always makes a nice dark greeny brown when you mix those two together. And of course, white. Yes, I've heard all the rules against not using black. You must mix them from other colors. This is a very tiny little painting. I don't worry too much about using a little black here and there if it makes my life easy, so also black from the tube. Even though this is a winter scene, and usually we use cooler colors for that, blues and purples, for this particular painting, I wanted a warmth to it. I wanted kind of a pinky glow, just a reddish tone to kind of match the colors of the cardinal's feathers. So that's why I started with that pink at the top. I had thought maybe it was going to look kind of sunsetty or something, but then I ended up making it a lot whiter at the top, and then again trying to add the pink in on top of that. But I just wanted a warmth to this painting that maybe you wouldn't ordinarily have in a winter scene. Probably a little ironic to be painting a snowy winter scene on what you have probably recognized is a magnolia leaf, known here in the South as a southern magnolia or a Magnolia grandiflora, which is the very large tree in our front yard with pods that sometimes will fall off and crack you on the head, like being hit in the head with somebody dropping a hairbrush on your head. They're very big. I joke about their size, but actually the pods are quite beautiful. They have this beautiful symmetrical pattern around them that I actually have put into my sketchbook with close-ups of the design. Just gorgeous. My brother said this will become forever art because apparently magnolia leaves can survive anything, and they are very sturdy, almost a rubbery sort of feel to them. And I'll mention later how I am not worried that they are going to crumble and not stand up to this for years to come. If you're enjoying the southern charm of this video, please like and subscribe to see what crazy thing I decide to paint on next. Now you can probably tell, having already seen the thumbnail of this video, that it's going to be a birch tree, even though right now you see me painting it in black. Let me tell you the reason that I'm starting with black for that. I discovered when I illustrated a children's book last year. Yes, I write children's books and occasionally I even illustrate them. And I was working in Procreate, which is a digital program on my iPad, and I found that the rocks that I painted looked absolutely fabulous if I started with a black base and then went in with a sort of charcoalish kind of brush and started adding the lighter colors on top of the rocks. And so I've decided it's a great way to paint a white birch tree too, and that's why I decided to do it that way. The limbs were a little skinny to make it look like there was snow piled up on them, but I did the best I could, just kind of tucking it into the right-hand corner where it branches out from the trunk of the tree. And then I wanted to just sort of make it look like it was fading in the background, that there was some background snow behind the tree. And yes, right here, sorry, I had forgotten. At the time, I didn't know I was going to add some blue. I decided I wanted blue up in the sky, and that was an ultramarine mixed with a white. A few tiny details of some branches, which I also added later in the very final piece. You don't see me adding all the branches. And of course, then when I started to do the cardinal, it was surprising how much I struggle with this very basic shape of a very basic bird. When I stop here, it looks like his tail is too short. But again, later on, I added and lengthened his tail because I thought it looked a little weird that his tail was so small. Now, people wonder, is this going to last? You didn't do a lot of I didn't dry it before I used this leaf. I just started Mod Podging on a green leaf right off of the tree. No worries. As I show you this image from a picture that hangs in my house from 2016, I All I did was take a leaf that was pretty much fresh off the tree, slapped a little paint on it, put a lot of Mod Podge on it, and here it is, something like 8 years later, still looks fine. And here we see the final finished piece. And here we see it in its final shadow box frame, which I created with foam core out of a $1.58 frame from the DAV store. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.